Okay, I looked this up on the web before I came in here. What it basically means is a student from the same era, from the same generation, same age group, who is given some responsibilities of an adult watching over other students, maybe like a hall monitor. But in the English system, a prefect would be someone chosen from the ranks of the students, usually someone a bit older. So you wouldn't have an incoming freshman being a prefect. Someone who's a bit older, but from the ranks, who knows some of the system, who knows the ropes, who has shown some signs of maturity, and is given some authority to enforce those rules or to help people. So that's what I just found out from the web today. And it's an English system. In the UK, in their public, in their private schools, they still have this system. You try to be a helper. You try to be around to answer questions. And I think that's what a good prefect is a man or woman who's present, a man or woman who's mature enough to give some advice, and a role model. But I think one of the biggest things, sometimes I tell prefects, you have to take time out. You have to have some time for yourself. You have to relax. Maybe you should have a night off. I don't know that. I don't know what the rule is now, but you have to really spend some time with yourself. I think a good prefect is just someone who is around the students, someone who's consistent. These are the expectations. Someone who doesn't lord over students, like I am the prefect, but someone who's just there as a helper. I think the consistency is the key part. And someone, we do have the rules and regulations for obvious reasons, and we have to enforce them. I mean, it's for the betterment of not just the individual, but for the whole dorm, the whole pod, the whole community.
In St. Benedict's rule, he says that the tools of the monastery, he might have been talking about a pick and shovel, or he might have been talking about a hammer. But the language that he uses, the tools of the monastery are to be used as if they are vessels of the altar. You use them for what they were made. You don't take a pair of pliers and try to hammer in a nail. You use a hammer for a nail. And when you're finished using it, you put it back in its proper place. Likewise, the facilities, when you're living together, it's important that the facilities be kept neat, clean, in order. So this value of stewardship is something that is worthy of conscious effort in doing it, and it leads to respect for others. It takes discipline, both of which are additional hallmarks. They kind of fit together. The one that students most often quote is hospitality. But you want to think of that in a kind of a challenging way, because Benedict's line in the rule that is used to illustrate the point that he's making is that the stranger or the guest should be received as if they're Christ. So what that means in many cases is quite frankly, it's not necessarily your friend that you're to be hospitable to. I don't know whether I want to say enemy, but certainly people that you would not ordinarily want to be hospitable to. Those are the people that you have an obligation to respect and to treat with kind of care.
You could use a lot of trite phrases like "listen with the ear of your heart." Don't, when you correct someone, Benedict says, don't rub the vessel too hard to take the rust off because you may crack the vessel. I just think it's listening. I mean, that's one of the key words of Benedict's rule is you listen to people, their insights, their complaints, their gripes, how you'd like to do something a bit better. And the rule also says there's a lot of wisdom can be found from having meetings, and the youngest may have some insight. A freshman may have a particular way of solving something. So I think this whole idea of listening, getting the pods together, getting the floors and the upper dorms together, and just talking things out. I think that's the important thing is this idea of listening, cooperation, and if there's people who act goofy, then you address that. Phenomenal people. It was fun. They were serious. They took their job very seriously. They worked. It was a good experience for me, and I hope for them when they were prefecting, as when they left St. Vincent. Silence. You know, that there should be periods of silence. And again, people are 19 to 21 years old. It's not going to be silent all the time, nor should it be silent all the time. But I think this idea of silence is something nice, something of stability. You belong to Jerry Bonaventure. You belong to this team. You're going to that social event. And I think all the students here have to develop some sort of some spiritual growth, and that's their decision. I mean, I would never force a person to go to this religious service or that religious service, but I think they can see by other people, whether it's a faculty member, a Benedictine, other students going to church, going to a devotion. That's how I think people do it. And I used to tell students, I don't know whether they should be recorded, but when I told people when they have stress in the dorm, they could do a couple things. Exercise. If you see me with my cane, I've ever done it. I tell people to go for walks. I tell people to go to the chapel. They're very strict. Don't sit, don't kneel, lay down in the corner, relax, and just listen. And I think that's one thing about the chapel over here is you pass it, but it's also a place just to go if you're upset, if you're tired, if you're having problems. Just go sit in the corner, relax, and just the silence. But being a prefect with all these responsibilities is something, it's a training for when you leave. You have to learn how to manage your time. You have to know when to study, when to relax, when to socialize. And I always tell people you need goof off time. And that could be just sitting and talking with the students, watching television. I think that's important. So I think prefects really have to learn how to do their job plus their studies, and not forget about their social life, their academic life. And I think exercising is a great thing. You get out of your head. You just clear a lot of the cobwebs away.